Just a little bit of that. All right, so I went ahead and put his e-collar on. You do not have to have, if you're using his prong collar, you do not have to have all of this stuff on. You'll find what your preference is. Some people like to just have a prong on for a walk. I know my personal preference is e-collar over everything. I like the versatility of it. I like that if I drop my leash or my dog jumps out of the car too early or whatever, I have the ability to communicate with my dog regardless of if there's a leash or not. So that's my personal preference. I also like it for dogs that get anxious or over aroused in the presence of people or dogs. The ability to say, cut it out, no, with the tap of the e-collar, to me is so much less invasive to the dog, and it helps me communicate that they need to fix something without having to change my demeanor and add in movement to create more like energy and excitement and things like that in those situations. So that's my personal preference. I have it right behind his ears, above the prong collar, closer to his head. You want the e-collar to be on fairly snug. It's important that those contact points are making consistent contact to his neck. You should be able to move the box if you need to, but it shouldn't slide around easily. I like to be able to fit just 2 fingers under the strap snugly. So I usually put on a little bit tight at first, and then I will kind of shuffle it around because he has all those the neck rolls and things like that. I like the box to be either on the top, off to the side behind either of the ears, or on the lower part, just on the other side of his, whatever this body part's called, like esophagus, there you go. We don't want it putting it on that because it's not a muscle. So this is a muscle stimulant. We want it to be right here on either side of these muscles or up top where it's flat. Okay, so let's work on, have a video of him working on his heel, but I'm gonna kind of go over it a little bit here too. So Mango, let's go. I use a lot of body gesturing to kind of get him into position. So I use that spatial pressure to get him back by my side. I want him to be on my left side, pretty level with my left leg. I don't want him up ahead, and I don't want him stopping and doing things behind me. So every time he moves ahead, I just kind of turn into him a little bit, pressure backwards, or use e-collar pressure backwards to get him back to where I want him to be. As soon as he's there, I release all pressures and mark with that good. So the command I use is let's go. I usually do a pat on my thigh. And again, just work on engagement, like check in with him. If he's looking up at you, check in with him, good boy, talk to him, play with him, do little direction changes to kind of keep him on his toes as to where you are. And then of course you can have those times where you're just doing a dull, like normal walk. He should be at your bubble. Like every time he gets ahead, you push him backwards. You should never let that slide, because if you do, then he's always going to test that out. So every single time he passes in front of your leg, just boop, backwards. And I think that's just a good rule of thumb to have to help him make better choices on his walk. When I stop walking, I like for him to go into a sit. I can help him out if he needs it by pushing him into a sit. If he is off leash, I'm okay with there being a little bit more freedom depending on where you are. Obviously, if you're in the city, I wouldn't have him off leash, period. I like to save off leash time for situations where you know he's not going to really come into trouble, like cars and things like that. If you know there's a lot of dogs and people that he's unsure of, be smart with your off leash stuff. Save it for the river, the beach, things like that, where it's okay if he can move around. He's not going to run into these dangerous situations. So that being said, when he's off leash, I'm okay if he kind of moves a little bit away from me, as long as he stays with me. If he runs up here and he's sniffing stuff, if I say Mango, hey Mango, come, and he ignores me, then I'm putting the leash back on. That's just it. Like, I want him to successfully come check in with me. I'll give him a reward, play with him, whatever. And then he can go back to whatever it was that he was doing. But I like to do those check-ins throughout my walk or whatever we're doing to make sure that I have his attention when I need it. And the e-collar is such a great, safe tool to have to manage that, so that you don't have to worry about if something else is happening and he blows you off, because you know if he chooses to ignore you, buddy, you need to come over. And this is here to create freedom, but to have safe freedom. Because he's a dog and he's gonna make mistakes and he's gonna find things more reinforcing you and he's gonna forget that you exist. It's not anything that wrong with you, it's just he's a dog and that's how they think. So again, with switching up your rewards, not making it the same thing every time, varying how much you give him each time, making it fun. When he comes back to you, let him chase you for a second, push him around, he likes to roughhouse, all that good stuff. Make yourself extra rewarding. You're gonna have to go out of your way for that. I'm not saying you're boring, but you exist with him all the time on a regular basis, so you have to do different things to make yourself more exciting than just you as you are. There's a lot of words, huh, bud? For his recall, I like to say his name like in a singing tone first to see if he's gonna give me his attention. If he totally blows me off, I'm gonna be creative with trying to get his attention before I say come. I don't want him to ignore me on the come. I don't want to just randomly throw out the word come and then go good boy and then have him totally blow me off and then I fail at getting him to come to me. So make sure that you are, you have his full attention before you start throwing out the C word. Mango, come. Good boy, good job. And then it's no matter what, he's like, I don't care, I'm doing this over here. That's when the e-collar comes in handy. I'm gonna put it on a 4, we'll start with the 4 and see how he does. A 4, and here, if you can see it, there you go. Mango, come, good boy. Out, look at that, good boy. A rock, where did you find a rock? So I didn't use the e-collar, but it's there for backup if I need it. I know you can't really see where he is because the camera is just this little angle right here, but it's there for backup. If he's like, no, I don't feel like it, you're gonna, let's see how I'll make this. I'm gonna say, Mango, come, little boy. If he ignores me, I'm gonna say or no, and when I repeat the k of come, that is when I apply the pressure. So Mango, pressure is on until he commits to coming to me, and then I say, I let go of the pressure, and then I reward, yay, good boy, all that stuff. Run backwards, let him chase you, give him a reward, whatever it is that you're doing. Make sure you're rewarding your dog. Make sure you're giving him rewards that he finds rewarding, and not that are just the cookie cutter rewards, like a piece of kibble or whatever. It's got to be something that he finds rewarding so that he wants to come back and check in with you. If he is moving away from you, you can change the intensity level as the continuous button is being held down. So what is ahead is dependent on how quickly you turn this up is contingent on what is ahead. So if he were to walk down this hallway, door shut, he can't go anywhere, it's just going to be a situation where I'm degree until he responds to me. Then good, okay, whatever. If you can't see behind us, but it's just a wall that leads to Broad Street. If that wall were gone and he's running towards Broad Street, I'm going to jack it up high until I get his attention, because that is the lesser of two evils as far as saving his life from getting run over by a car or something like that. In the packet that I will send home with you, you're gonna have a lot of stuff. The one page, I think it's utilizing dog training, something like that. It's basically just ways to incorporate his obedience and his training into everyday life. I know that for me personally, I train dogs for a living, so when I come home, the last thing I want to do is train my dog. So I know that you are probably going to have days like that too, where you're like, I don't really want to train Mango right now. So I put it in there to kind of add ways to involve Mango and his training in things you're already going to be doing around the house. So multitasking. If you can involve Mango in it, then involve him with whatever you're doing. So if you're making dinner, have him on a place or downstage by your feet. If you're watching a movie, have him on a nice place. Practice calling him in the backyard after he goes poop or something. I don't know. Just be creative. You want to practice his obedience as much as you can to help it be fluent for you in a situation that is controlled and you have the upper hand. So that way when you go out into new situations where there's a bunch of new information and new things happening around you, you don't want to then be practicing his obedience. If he's not listening at home, he's not going to listen to you anywhere else either. So you want to make sure that you're fluent with everything in the low distractions, controlled type of environment, so that you can be, so that comes across naturally for you guys when you're working him in newer situations. It's more than just tricks that he came here and learned. These are ways to help your relationship with him. It's giving him, it's showing him how you want him to behave and how you want him to act in the situations that you put him in. Every situation that you go into, you're going to be telling him how he needs to be behaving, how he needs to be acting. Right, buddy? Again, I'd like to get together for a in-person lesson so that way you can kind of do stuff with me after you've listened to these videos, watch these videos. You can kind of get like a little hands-on practice with him. I know he's a big lug and he's a lot to handle. We all really like Mango here. He's such a big puppy. Such a big stinky boy. But I don't want you to be frustrated with him and want to murder him all the time, right, buddy? So yeah, I want to help you be clear and understand everything that I've just gone over. I hope it's not too many videos for you. So if you need help with anything, do not hesitate to reach out. Yeah, so just shoot me an email after you watch all these videos. Right, bud?